Yo, 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 yo. What is up? What is up? What is up? Okay, yeah, that's still there. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So I guess we're good, right? We have everything there that we need to do.
Yeah.
All right.
A little bit of a Tarek update just came in though.
Oh. All right. I'll let you do that then. All right, cool. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hello and welcome to episode 324 of the Center Ring Esports podcast presented by Alt. And this is going to be the best episode ever. Not only because Anuj and I just maybe survived the storm of the century here in Texas, which we'll get to in a moment, but Anuj is also back. The crew has reunited. And it feels so good, as they say. So we'll definitely talk about Device and Astralis, go a little bit more into detail with Hook and Empire, and just a little bit more grab bag stuff as we catch up, and a packed e-news to wrap things up with as well. But before we get to that, let me tell you about Alt Esports. ULT, that's how you spell it. You need to know it. altesports.com has the best brand apparel that money can buy associated with esports and then some. Now, my recommendations is you go there right now. You can pick yourself up a gorgeous Minnesota Rocker hoodie, tie-dye hoodie, Minnesota Rocker Superfan bundle, $65. It gets you everything that you need to support the org, including a tank top and socks. Now, why am I bringing up Minnesota Rocker? No bias at all. It has nothing to do with the COO giving us a shout out on Twitter or anything. You know me. I don't care about that stuff, Anuj. This is just love of the Rockers, as they say. S tier, by the way, in our CDL branding. So definitely not playing paper. They were already S tier before that. So go ahead and pick yourself that up, and you can do all that at altesports.com.
Hey, this is Threat from NIP, and you're listening to TCR.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome back. Welcome to another edition of The Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast. Episode 324 coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date is 4/28/2021. The time, 9:53 p.m. Starting late per usual, but extra late because we had a bit of a tornado sirens going off, so we had to delay the thing. So if you follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring and you watch live, you would know that because we tweeted it out. So you should go there right now and follow us at The Center Ring. And our Discord is in the link there, as well as the website and all that fun stuff. But my name is Tim. I'll be your captain for this journey into esports. And alongside me, as always, is my best friend, my brown friend, my nip friend. It's Anuj.
Do you think the esports gods know when we are like not doing a show for a couple of days?
You would think so.
Like, do you feel like there's some sort of like alignment of the stars? Because my whole plan was to be gone for a week, not check Twitter, not like focus at all on what's going on, and just spend time with my family. Catch myself in the bathroom scrolling for updates to wait for Device's statement, like for like 2 hours. I'm taking a shit, leave me alone. Just sitting in the bathroom, scrolling through my phone, waiting for updates on this whole NIP situation.
It makes it even better too, because it was just like the last episode before we went on vacation. You said it's definitely not going to be Device. Anyone else on Astralis, but not Device. And then it was like, oh, Device is leaving. it's like, oh, we should, like, if only we had our laptops, we could have done an emergency show from the beach. That would have been.
It was really just one of those things that was a true slap in the face. I mean, it was just not Device towards Astralis. It's just the news. It caught everybody by surprise.
Which we'll get to in a moment, because I know we purposely waited to talk about it today. You requested it, and I honored it. You said, you can talk Overwatch with Kevin, because I don't give a shit. But give me Device and Astralis, and I was like, all right, that's fair enough. Fair enough. We talked a lot of Overwatch last episode, so you didn't miss anything. Don't.
I really didn't.
Don't worry.
I really did. Even if I was here, I don't know if I
told Kevin,
here.
I was like, look, this will probably be the only time, except for maybe the finals, that we even bring it up outside of E-News. So, have at it. This is your moment.
Appreciate Kevin coming on, helping us out. Didn't want everyone to have to wait too long for the next episode, so him being able to do that was true team player. So appreciate that.
Yeah, and I know he is inquiring about us versus esports network in Valorant. So hopefully we hear back from them and we can get another show match going, maybe get some big casters involved or something like that to make fun of it again. And hopefully they have a better outing than last time and we don't completely sweep them to the point. We were able to beat them in a best of 3 in one map.
And we didn't start with the 1-game lead.
No, because they, after one map, we defeated Kevin and his friends. Kevin, of course, formerly of ESPN, so this was while he was with ESPN still. It was us versus ESPN crew, so to speak. And we 13-0'd them on Bind, I believe it was, in Valorant. And I think they maybe got a total of 5 kills. Maybe.
It was rough. Yeah, it was. We played them on Haven, I think, and it was just a absolute beating for those guys, unfortunately. And you know what? That wasn't their game. They're not FPSers, so I kind of give them that. Now they've had a little time to regroup, and he's got a new set of teammates, which I would have cut everybody on that old team also.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
A good timing for us. You and I have started warming up a little bit, just getting the fingers a little loose, not getting off of WoW, I should say, but mixing in some Valorant with the new season and all that going on, which we'll get into later. But
WoW life cycle is normal though. You go 3 months. We went, even longer, right?
We've been playing since November when it came out. And I feel like we have been pretty hardcore into it since November. So this has been the long stretch for for us. And now 9.1's coming out, so I'll definitely be messing around with that for a while. So I think this will be the little pause in between here as we come up on that.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel it. Anyways, before we get too far into the show, because we haven't had a whole lot of chance to talk, how was your trip?
Amazing, dude. It was like exactly what we needed. It was a good break away, and having her whole family there with us. It was her parents and her brother as well as his wife. Had a lot of help with the kid, which was awesome, right? Like a bunch of hands on deck for
Always nice.
playing and waking up and all that type of stuff. But it was awesome. Like the weather was in the mid 70s, and the town that we were in was really just a nice area, a very clean area. The house we were in was badass, so I would recommend the seaside watercolor area to like anybody that's looking for a beach vacation. Like that was solid. It was a good time.
Yeah, no complaints on ours. We also went to the beach. Funny enough, different beach, different state, but nonetheless same ocean. And yeah, look, it was just me, my wife, our 2 kids, and my mom decided to go last minute. Thank God,
Yeah, I was about
because
to say that's probably pretty
it
nice.
was, and I mean, it's still a lot. Like something's different. Like it's still relaxing. It's still the ocean because our place was right off the ocean. Like I tweeted a picture. I mean, it was you could throw a rock from our front door into the ocean. It was
Yeah,
close. So that's lovely because we knew ahead of time with a 3-month-old and a 19-month-old, now 20-month, we weren't going to be on the beach that often. So it worked out. It was perfect. Like you said, weather was great. We went to Galveston. Don't sleep on Galveston. It's not crystal clear ocean by any means, but if you're in Texas and you just need a quick getaway to the beach,
it's a good Texas beach,
it
right?
is.
Like for what we have available, it's like we'll take it.
Yeah, and like we
Then
went
you,
downtown Galveston. I've never been, and that was cute. If good, I would say family atmosphere, right? Like the beach isn't like a party beach or anything like that, so it was nice
yeah,
to go. And I mean, it was dead, like no one was there. So, but good to be back. Good to be back in the swing of things because, like you said, a ton of news dropped and everything, including you mentioned we're getting back into Valorant a little bit. That is, of course, because the new season and the new map. Speaking of beaches, Riot knew they were like, "Oh my God, TCR is at the ocean. We have to release this map now that is off the ocean." So go figure. But we did. It's out now. So if you haven't played it, go ahead and play it. We played it last night with some listeners. Breeze is the new map. First impressions, plays completely different than any other map in Valorant.
in a positive way
In a
to me. I
Yeah,
really enjoy the map. For me the range, the long distance, the open out, like the open lanes for gunfights feels really good. Feels more like a traditional like CS map in some aspects, right? Like it's just there was good range in some areas, some close knit spots.
I
Um,
hate comparing everything to Valorant to CS, but it's just the nature of the beast. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Cobble. A little bit. There's moments, there's
yeah,
parts in the map that have hints of Cobble.
no, you're right. Like there actually are because in Cobble you have like the alleyways in between the castle or whatever, right? That are a little bit more narrow, a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
confined, but not that much action takes place there unless it's on rotations and stuff like that. Similar to this map, easily distinguishable 3 lanes on this map of how they want you to run it. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. Again,
Long
I
gunfights. I
thought
will
it was
say
a really
this.
good map.
It takes me. I'm a guy who, first off, experiencing a new map in a video game. We have to do like an update for our top feelings in gaming. That's got to be like in the top 10. Like a new map experience, like learning the
Yeah,
core, like learning call outs, learning where things are at. It's just kind of like for me, it's kind of, I don't know, it's exciting. This is
it's
something,
fresh,
it's
right? Like it
fresh, it's
just
new to
freshens
a
it up,
game.
and
Uh,
in a game like Valorant that's desperately in need of like maps in general,
right.
right? Like we're just dying for more.
That being said,
Um,
though, it takes me a little bit to say if I love the map or hate it because like a lot of people in Icebox hated it, like right out the gate. People hated Icebox, but you and I were kind of on the other side where we're like, actually, we kind of enjoy it. Like, I don't understand what, like, everyone hates
How
it.
do you feel about Icebox now, a couple months down the line?
I still enjoy it. Funny enough, I feel like I play it though all the time in comp. Like, I swear to God, it's the only comp map we
It
get.
does come up a ton for us in comp. Yeah, I'm a little bit more indifferent now with Icebox than I was at the start because I think it can become a little stale to watch from a competitive side. I don't mind playing it. Like I think playing
Yeah.
it plays fine, but I do
Anything's
feel
still
like
better
it's
than
a
Split.
well, anything's better than
Like,
Split
I'm
though. So
anytime.
Split we just kind of erase from the mind right now. We don't compare maps to Split because Split is going to always be the worst map until it's completely revamped. And at some point, I'm sure they will. I think they know that. So comparing Icebox to the other maps though outside of Split, I would start to put it on the lower end of like again from an esports side. So I'm not talking about what I want to play. From an esports side, I think Bind and Haven rank higher than Icebox for me at this point.
Yeah, I might put. I don't. See, I'm not a fan of Haven. The 3 bomb sites, I don't like it. I don't like playing it. I don't like watching it. I don't like it. That's just me. But as far as the new map Breeze goes, obviously we'll see it sooner rather than later in competitive because it's coming up. I forget what off the top of my head, but it is coming up in like a tournament soon. So there's really no warm up period for it. It's going right into the rotation, which I like it. Like, hey, these guys are pros. They play 8 hours a day. They don't need 4 months to practice a map. Get them in there and get them to play it. That it's fair grounds no matter what.
It's
It's not like,
also fun watching the meta evolve around that one
yeah.
particular map,
Well,
right?
and I
Like
think
we're
this
gonna
one,
see something real basic probably right now, and you'll progressively see it advance because we're not waiting 3 or 4
right.
months for them to come and play it. Like you're gonna watch them address things as they go.
And I don't think the current meta is going to, like, I don't, and again, this is us playing, so it's completely different than watching pros play it, right? But I don't see right off first impressions, I don't see Jet being as useful on a map like this compared to closer quarter maps where she can get around fast. Now,
Yeah.
although this map, you can get around fast on this map. Like, you really, like, it took me a couple maps or a couple games on it to kind of get used to the pacing. Because other maps, I feel like you play slower. This one, it's like the rotations are so fast. Like, you can get from one side to the other so fast with, like, how open it is. It takes a little bit.
I was excited to see what the gimmick would be for this map because every map kind of has its own thing in Valorant, right? Which is pretty cool. I guess it's the shoot from A halls
To
down in
mid.
the mid. It just drops you down and spits you out, which is weird. Not gonna lie, little bit odd. I'm
It
not.
feels weird. Like,
Well,
even,
it
like,
is. It
just,
is just. It is weird. It's just like random. Like there's this shoot that spits you out, and you're just kind of you're there. Now we were able to make some fun plays with it by like flashing out and just jumping out and catching people off guard that way. But a little bit odd overall, though. Map to me, I think will be really fun to watch in a competitive mode. I think utility is going to be insane to watch how they use it. I mean, you're going to see shit everywhere. You're
yeah.
going to see smokes and viper walls and I mean, there's going to be a lot of utility usage on this map because
It's
A has like
also,
5 entrances.
I was about to say, with A site, it's huge. It has 2 giant pyramids in it that you can hide behind and plant behind. And we saw our teammate yesterday, Raze, was an idiot and just blindly threw a rocket out while the bomb was being planted. And it's like, bro, this isn't like the other maps where it's like pretty obvious where they're planting. Like, A site is so well protected for the offense. It's going
Yeah.
to be, I think you put it best yesterday while we were playing, like, oh, this is a retake site. This is a site where you back off, let them have it, and then you just retake it because it's very attacker friendly. Again, first impressions. This could all change in a week after playing it more, but first impressions is A site. I would say it's the more favorable side for attackers.
Yeah, I feel like it'll be easy to get in, but I think it's going to be harder to hold. Where I think B, if you can find ways to take it, it's going to be significantly easier to shut down. And once you have it planted, you should be able to hold that site pretty easily.
Also, not a coincidence that Viper was just buffed and this map is perfect for her walls. Once you figure them
Yeah.
out, right? Like once you get the location. I was watching Shroud play Viper, and believe it or not, he's a little bit better than me. So me playing Viper, also played her for the first time on the map, which was a bad mistake.
Not only, yeah, your first time playing Viper and your first time
And
playing
a
a new
map that I
map.
have no idea
Yeah.
what it's about. But that's why I don't like say like, oh, this map sucks, right? Because if you would have asked my opinion after the first time playing it, I would have told you it was a dog shit map and they should just delete it. But then like after like the third or fourth time we played it, I was like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
I get it. That first time, it's like people are shooting me left and right, and you're like, oh yeah, they can come down this hallway, and then I got died again. And you're like, oh yeah, so they can come down this little chute here, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? But then it's
That's one of those things that always takes time, right?
Yeah.
Just messing around with it. But
of course,
overall, I would give it like 2 thumbs up as of right
yeah.
now.
I mean, for
I
a
am
new
excited to see pros touch it and see what it looks like.
yeah for a new map, I'm glad that the new maps haven't been bad. Like the fact that
Yeah.
like we started with 3 maps and everyone was like, this sucks. Like even if the 3 maps were amazing, 3 maps is just no bueno. But I am glad to see that the new maps on Valorant are good.
Yeah, because like Ascent is a pretty good map. It's not a bad map. It's not a perfect map, but it's not a bad map. Icebox, obviously, like we just talked about it, and now Breeze. Like I think they're doing okay. I think they just need choices, right? So
Yeah.
once we have choices, we won't hate bad maps as much as we hate them right now. When there was 3 maps and Split was a bad map, like it was a really bad map, and it just got highlighted even more because it was one of the 3 that we were forced into playing. So as they add more, kind of hate a little bit less, I guess you could say. I think we would.
And so there's Breeze. That's the new Valorant map. Get a chance to play it. We'll be on Valorant more too. So if you see us on, add us on Discord. Ask us for our Riot tags. We'll add you, no problem. And look, right now it's the 24/7 Breeze playlist. It's not ranked, so we can all play together. It doesn't matter what your rank is. And let's make it happen, Captain. So getting on to from last episode though, the big news was Device is bought out of Astralis. I don't know what the correct terminology here is. I don't know if we want to say he left Astralis, if he was bought out. Clearly, I think it was maybe a mixture of both. It was kind of the stars aligned, and he was wanting out because he was wanting to stay in Sweden, and they were looking at making roster changes anyways, and Nip was looking to buy. So it was just the perfect buyer-seller market lined up and said, hey, we have a deal for you. But Device is no longer with Astralis. He is now with Ninjas in Pajamas. Anuj, I guess just give me your thoughts.
Well, this had nothing to do with Astralis. This was all Device, right? Astralis, even if they were going to make 4 moves, it wasn't going to be Device. Like you're letting go of.
Oh, can I say timeout for a second?
Give it to me.
Because at the beginning you were like, no one saw this coming. I did see some talking heads bring up on Twitter saying, see, I told you fans, this Astralis experiment wasn't going to work out. I told you there was an end to it. And I just laughed to myself. And I'm like, at what point did it not work out? Like,
only now have we seen some kinks in the armor, right? And even then, if we were headed into a major tomorrow, they would still probably be the favorite going in, right? If they had Device on that roster.
And he's even from, I will say this too, because now they are a 5-man roster again, right? They are not a 6-man roster. The 6-man roster for Astralis did work out. I will make that argument. For Astralis, the 6-man roster worked.
Well, the 6 and 7-man roster thing that they tried was like fine because it was Astralis, right?
But for the org and the team, it worked. Now, for the individual 6th and 7th player, sure, they didn't use them as much as I think people thought they were going to. They probably didn't use them as much as they thought they were going to.
But it still benefited those players.
Right.
Look at S-Tag. S-Tag still got a payday at Cloud9 and still made 60, 70K. He was making, 30K a month for a few months there and still got some big money off of that. Astralis still got paid 500K for S-Tag's buyout. So it was a good move, even outside of the server, for them because when they did use those guys, there wasn't a huge drop off, and then when they got rid of them, they got paid for them. So yeah, like the 6 and 7 man rosters on occasion were fine for Astralis. Back to the move though. Yeah, no, nobody saw this coming. Anybody that you see saying this on Twitter, mentioning any sort of semblance of this happening is completely lying at this point. I think everybody knew a change was coming to Astralis, and then Simple also kind of threw it out there right after they had scrimmed Astralis and said, "Oh, you won't believe who wasn't playing like that. It's going to shock everybody." And then he said, I'm not gonna name names. That's a team decision to do." And then like 24 hours later, he said, "Yeah, like device wasn't in the server." Um, Still, even then, I don't think people really believe that device was not going to be on this team. Device doesn't get enough credit for being. He's not looked at like we look at Simple and Zywoo. We talk about the best in CS, and Simple's name gets brought up every time. Zywoo probably closely behind. And then you can go into maybe an argument for a couple of players, but it's not a given that device is even necessarily next on your list. This guy just had his first negative rating in like over a year in an online era. He's arguably the most consistent player we have ever seen in Counter Strike, right? He doesn't have ups and downs. He's like either good or really good. Those are kind of the gears for him. Um, we don't see players stay with the team for roughly 8 years like he did now. It wasn't just all with Astralis, but kind of him starting that
With
core.
the org, like,
Yeah,
whatever.
like moving in this direction. Like it's been 8 years of having him. So it all just feels really weird to be like device is no longer here. Now you ask, why did device make this change? He's living in Sweden with his gorgeous girlfriend right now, and they've been together for a long time. And so, um, he wants to stay at home more. He's not getting to practice with the team. He felt like team unity was kind of falling apart a little bit. And then you kind of start to look at the writing on the wall. Now, yeah, Tim and I,
I just looked up his girlfriend. I would
yeah,
I would sign with Nip too.
yeah,
I mean,
100%.
who's the fifth best Swedish Counter Strike team? I would sign with them.
Like
What? Yeah, okay. Say no more. I
device,
know now. I know why.
device heading to the
Now this
Copenhagen
makes
Flames.
right. Yeah, now this makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, like it does. Like from a personal standpoint, it makes sense. Now that he had a couple of options with teams, I think he made the better choice. Not because me liking Nip as much as I did during their prime years with Get Right and all these guys, but they have a good young core, a core that played well in ESL Pro League. Advanced to the semis or whatever it was, and looked really good and came out of groups. I think number 1 during
Well,
that
and
event.
and we've even discussed it with, as far as ninjas go, as far as NIP is concerned, they had every excuse in the book to pretty much pull a Cloud9. I mean, even bowing out of Counter-Strike, I could see them doing it. There was a window of time where it was like, that core NIP roster left. They were mixing in and rotating in and out players, and it just seemed like they weren't finding their footing. And then they bounced back. We even talked about it, a handful of episodes ago. Like, we could see this NIP team being dangerous come the major time if they continue this direction. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Device listens to the podcast and heard that and said, damn, I need to go with NIP. But you're absolutely, like, we've said it before, like, NIP was not a roster just to completely blow off.
No, and like NIP has always shown faith in their young stars, right? So when they transitioned off in 2019 and let all the big guys go off that team, they picked up Rez at that point, and they've ridden with him. There's been ups and downs, right? It hasn't all been pretty. They were bad for a majority of 2019. A big part of 2020 was like a growing period. They picked up Plopsky. It didn't look great right away, but they stuck with him. And now these moves are starting to pay off, right? You add ZTR, Hampus, and then Knock, who's the one that unfortunately, like, imagine his position, right? He's been playing well. He hasn't been bad for Nip at all. In fact, he's been really good at times. And then they tell you you're getting cut, and you're like, wait a minute, why are you cutting me? We're ranked 13, we're trending up, and oh, we got Device. What do you say if you're not at that point? Like, okay, touche. I
Right.
get it. Like, thank you for having me on as long
can
as you
I
did.
be benched? Can I can I be the sixth man? Like, that's fine. Can
Like,
I just
it's
learn under
it's
him?
a tough spot, and for Device, Tim, like, this shows like a level of awareness that you don't see from players too often. You look at that team, and from the outside looking in, it's still the core five that won all these majors together, right? Three out of the four majors is with this group here, and majority for that fourth one as well. But they started to slip a little bit recently. You knew Zipnix was probably on his way out because he hasn't played well in over a year. He left for his little player break that he needed, came back. He's not the clutch master anymore. Like, he's just not the same player. So Zipnix was probably gone regardless. We talked about Glaive just a few weeks ago announcing that he is having a baby. Regardless of what you tell me, I know what it's like. You know what it's like. There's no way things are just the same. He might still be as good and he might get better, but it's going to be a change, and we have to see how he adjusts to that change, how much time he may want off for that change. Um,
And it's a
it,
change. Like, don't get
yeah,
it
and
twisted.
and like Glaive is still relatively young, and this is also not his wife, I don't believe. I think it's his girlfriend. So there's like just a lot of dynamics going on there, right? And so I just think he saw a couple of things here that probably make him believe now would be a better time than ever to do this. Magisk has not played at the same level that he was necessarily playing at. Dupree has had his ups and downs. Really, those two I'm not overly worried about. It's really the other, two core players for this roster. So if they were going to do a little bit of an overhaul, we have seen this happen, Tim, with championship caliber teams. I think every time is they don't know when to say when, right? They let it go to that point of no return. It gets messy, and then everybody is in limbo. Look at the current SK roster, Luminosity, whatever. Um, they're all over the board, right? Taco's not on a team. Fur just signed with some random tier two team. Fallen's the only one that's been put in position, to be successful with Liquid. Obviously, Colzera now with FaZe, but they don't look that great or haven't looked great since he's been there. Um, it usually waits too long. NIP did it at one point in their history where they kept these guys until 2019. That was too long. We saw
Virtus
Fnatic
Pro.
do it.
Virtus Pro, it almost cost Virtus Pro their entire brand in Counter-Strike.
Yeah, Virtus Pro stayed until there was literally nothing left to plow with that roster, right? Like, they had nothing left at all, and until they all just left at one time. And so we've seen that happen over and over again. And so I think Device was a little proactive here, saw an opportunity to make a jump. It was better for his lifestyle. He's still going to a top team. He will make this team better. There's no doubt about that. I'm excited. Like, it's a little bit of fresh air. It's sad to see. I think, to me, the Astralis era is over. Like, I do believe that. I think they could still be a good competitive team, but like, what does that mean versus what you were, right? You were
Mm-hmm.
a four-time champion, so being a good competitive team is a pretty major step back if you're not competing for championships every time. Um, I am excited to see what it does for the landscape. Like, this was a really ballsy move. Astralis got paid for it. It sounds like they got upwards of $1 million is
That's what
being
they're
reported.
saying. Yeah, they're saying upwards to $1 million, around that number. So if that is the real buyout for them, I mean, good for them. That'll give them plenty of play money to where, because now we're looking at Astralis here. Okay, so you lose Device. Unexpectedly, maybe a little expected. Who knows what was going on behind closed doors on their side, right? But you lost one of your best players, a top 5 player in Device, leaves Astralis. They leave your team. So now, where is the mindset? Where, now if you're Astralis, you have to ask yourself, okay, is this our roster now? Are we just moving up Bubsky and going with these five.
Like, it can't be though. Like, who's gonna opt for them? Dupree? Like, I know Dupree's been on the op before, but he's not in like that's not his role. Bubsky is not an opper, so like this team will be fine in the short term, right? They can make it work and
I just
get
wonder
by.
how short of a leash these guys have now.
I think they're already looking. Like, I don't think there's a leash. I think that everyone's just kind of roaming a little bit free right now in the dog park. They're having fun with their boys. Like, you're just playing right now and seeing what kind of outcome you get. There's really no. I don't think I just don't think this is the final form of the roster that we're going to see. I think ultimately we still see Zipniks go at some point. I think there's even an additional change on that. Maybe Bubsky stays in the core. I'm not saying that he's out.
And there's talks of
Everyone
him
that's out.
wanting out.
Maybe I think he stays. I think
That
he
was as six man though, right? It was as a six man. He was saying, "I want to play more, so let me look for elsewhere." Now that he's on the roster, like you said,
like
completely
he's
changes.
probably staying. Yeah, like this is a good team to be on. Obviously, a good franchise to be with. So, um, I just don't see how this works out for them with this roster long term. The obvious name that people are going to yell out is Cadian, right? Cadian's an upper. He's I believe he's Danish. He's playing for a Danish team at least in heroic. I think there's no chance Cadian leaves to make this move. He's on a team that's fighting for top spot in the world. He's built that org. He's the face of that org, and now to leave, you're just adding pounds and pounds of pressure onto you to make Astralis what they were, or at least continue to play at that level.
I feel that'd also be a little. It'd be a little silly, right? If anyone from Heroic switched over to their Danish brothers with Astralis, because it's kind of like this whole time, like you said, like that Heroic roster was built off of last chances, right? Like that roster was given no chance to succeed, even though you got Katie, and I guess the hype was there, but like the expectations were pretty low. Like, let's be realistic here. They were low for that Heroic roster. Now that they've almost, I don't want to say leapfrog or surpassed Astralis, they're right there, right? Like if they haven't leapfrogged Astralis, the hands are on their back and they're getting ready to jump. So to make that switch, I would feel like that's a little knee jerky at this point, right? That would be a little.
Yeah, I don't think any of them go.
No,
Like,
I
think
feel like that would almost be like maybe like if you just want to play for the brand, right?
which we've seen happen. Like, I mean, it's not like that it's unheard of. It's just I I, I don't see them doing that because they're such a young core, right? And like, look, Refresh is not going anywhere. Nobody gave him a chance for all of 2020, and all of a sudden, Heroic gives him a chance and he performs well. So he's not going to stab him in the back.
Right.
Canadian, plenty of opportunities to get picked up by any of his Danish brethren, and Heroic's the only one that took a chance. Heroic also just got a lot of funding recently, so I'm sure they'll take care of these guys financially. You hope, and so I don't know where Astralis turns. I mean, there's talks of a young offer named Lucky, but unproven. So who knows? It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I think Astralis will be able to float again. I think they'll be okay. Stay in the top 10. Probably do okay at the RMR.
Yeah, this isn't going to be any. I don't think this is going to be like a complete collapse. Like they're not going Cloud9 ways.
They're not far from it happening, though. I don't think either. Like it could. I think if it starts off ugly, then you got to watch out, right? Then you got to watch out for that snowball effect. But if they can
Well, and
take
that's
a
what I was
couple
saying is,
naps
so if it
early,
starts off ugly and then all of a sudden management is very trigger happy with making roster moves, right? That's what I'm saying is, so do they want to try to see, hey, let's just play this out? Or if you're going to sit there and constantly swap out players to see what works. I don't know if Zonic is really the kind of coach to even like, not like he has any approval say in it, but I feel like that's kind of like the what's it called? The secret weapon right now is Zonic. Like if he can, like, we've talked to him before with his coaching styles. If there is one coach in there that can look at a team and adjust the play style to work out for the players that are there, it would be him.
yeah. What's going to be interesting to see is can they now define, do something that's considered new, right? Astralis was revolutionary in how they quote unquote use their utility and approached like sites and how they kind of were able to just do enough there, enough to be different, I should say. Um, Now that's also been a while, right? So it is hard to continuously reinvent yourself with the same players. So maybe fresh blood is what's needed to like do something new. It's just gonna be it's gonna be interesting to watch. I mean, it is a huge loss. You lost your legendary MVP, finals MVP for the most part, not every time, obviously, but you just lost somebody that's capable of dropping 30 consistently.
You lost a
And he
top
does it in
five
the
player.
most like difficult position. I mean, in the sense being the opper, there's just so much weight on your shoulders because financially for your team, you are literally carrying the load. Um,
Like, I don't care what team it is, right? I mean, Astralis, if there is one team that could lose a player like that and be okay, you would think it would be Astralis. But again, you lost a top 5 player. Like, no org is immune to that situation, right?
no.
There's going to be some hard adjustment, whether or not it's, it's these 5 that are going to see it through and see it to the end. I guess only time will tell. But regardless, like, it's going to be a shakeup. And I know the first time we see NIP with Device will be Flashpoint. I assume that's going to be the same for Astralis without him, but I haven't looked at their schedule. I mean, it's only
Yeah,
May
I
10th,
believe so
so
too.
I don't think there's a whole lot of time between
Do
now
we
and
get
then.
to see them go head to head anytime soon? Is the question.
That is the question, and I don't know the answer. I will have to look because they don't have the brackets yet for that because the qualifiers are still obviously still going on for
Yeah.
what is being called Flashpoint Season 3, which bravo to Flashpoint's marketing group that decided to be like, guys, why don't we just call the major qualifier tournament we have Flashpoint Season 3? Like, Flashpoint was dead.
Genius.
I mean, I looked that up yesterday or the last episode, and I was like, wait a minute. When did Flashpoint Season 3 even get started? And why are, like, the top 10 teams in it?
The
And
good thing
then
is they took out the word season. So they're calling it like Flashpoint 3, I think.
on the Wikipedia, it's under Flashpoint Season 3.
Good for them, sticking to their guns.
like, like, this is the most nice way of saying Season 3. This is just your third year of operation, not necessarily Season 3. But, yeah,
Thorin
so
did it.
we went from a Season 3 Flashpoint that was dead in the water to now having every European top team that you want. So, congratulations to them. Go figure, as soon as Thorin isn't affiliated with them, Astralis finally joins.
They're like, you know what? Now is the time.
Now, all these top teams are like, oh, who's gone? Oh, okay, yeah, we'll sure, call it Season 3, whatever. It's at the RMR event, sure, whatever. Season 3, whatever you want to call it, we'll be there. So that, though, kicks off May 10th, so obviously we'll talk more about that because the qualifiers have been entertaining nonetheless. So if that's any indication on what the main event will be like, it will be good, fun Counter-Strike action. One other move that happened while we were away, not in Counter-Strike, but in the land of Call of Duty. Anuj, I know you also wanted to touch on this. We did talk a little bit about it last week, but not completely in depth. But that is the Dallas Empire in Call of Duty League benching Hook.
This one drives me crazy. Absolutely drives me bananas to see this because the whole reason you made the difficult choice to let Clayster go was you didn't want to break up the core of the young three that kind of all came as like a package deal, right? The friendships between Shotzi, Illy, and Hook. You didn't want to break that up. So you had to make the choice between Clayster and Krim, and you went with Krim, not knocking that move at all. Krim's been amazing this year. Clayster's been equally as good for his team. To bench Hook right now, I had to go double check the standings, Tim, because I was like, wait a minute. Like, I know I haven't been watching every match of Call of Duty, but how far have they fallen out of second place? Like last I checked, I thought they were sitting in second. So surely they must have fallen in their fifth, sixth, maybe hoping to make a playoff spot, not wanting to get caught in that bottom grouping. Well, I go and check, and sure enough, the standings are a little bit closer, right? Like everybody's packed a little bit tighter than they were. But there it was. Dallas still sitting at number two. And to drop arguably one of your best players from last season, outside of Shotzi, I would say Hook was
I
probably
I would say yeah, he was in contention of being
most valuable player for
yeah.
this team at points, right? And definitely carried this team at points. I think it was just a bad move. I hope that they're able to rectify this and possibly bring him back on. We'll see how this goes for the stage 3 stuff that's happening right now, but I'm not in agreement with the move. I know that doesn't mean crap to them, but I do think this was a bad decision that you are now not only messing with team chemistry, but like mentality, right? Like this was your defend the throne season. I would have ride or died with this team to defend that throne, unless they showed me like they don't have it, unless I knew just by looking at this team play that they can't beat teams, they're not winning any matches, they're at the bottom half of the standings. Sure, make a move, do what you got to do. At the time of the move, you were sitting at like 12-7. You were sitting in second place. Why? Like it just wasn't perfect. Like
It's
why do this right now?
and I mentioned it last episode too, and I mean I agree with everything you just said. As far as like your second place and you're making roster moves, you're second place and you're a defending champ. Like that's pretty unheard of for a defending champ this early on in the season. We're midway through, but I would say that's early for a defending champ to all of a sudden start making roster moves, right? So that's crazy in itself. But they are saying like if it was something to do with like his attitude, right? And if it's his attitude and it's messing up the locker room per se, I could see where that's tough to get around. We've seen it in other sports and esports where you have top tier talent, top tier players being moved around for roster moves. You know, we saw like think of in football, right? Terrell Owens has been moved around a number of times. Hell, even Antonio Bryant, right? And that's a perfect example, kind of with Hook, where just because you're moving around doesn't mean it's not working.
All the people that you're mentioning though are publicly out there and let you know that that's the kind of teammate that they are, right? From everything that you hear from people outside of the organization that know Hook directly would tell you that that's not the type of person that he is. He's not the confrontational type, and they don't see that being the case. Now, I know again a lot of people have brought up that maybe there was a personality issue. I don't buy that. Like unless somebody leaks that from inside the Empire team, okay, then you take them at their word, but and until somebody does, I just think that they believe in my mind that they're trying to stay one step ahead, right? Like we want to make this move now so we don't get too far behind because we see that it's not going well. I think that if that's the case, that was a poor way to approach this. Um, I just think you should have ride and died with this team after they delivered you a championship last year. In
Yeah,
like
again, like I said, if it is locker room though, it's just even from like if you're the teammates of it,
Yeah, if I just would need some sort of confirmation from somebody internally on that, not the Reddit threads that are going on. I've seen them, like I've seen this stuff
right?
out there, but like I haven't seen anybody with any sort of direct information that's actually saying that. Like it's just speculation because I think that stuff starts to pop up when shit doesn't make sense, right? You're like, well, what it had to be a personality issue. Like, why else are they making this change? Like, it doesn't make sense to make this change otherwise. So, I don't know, man. Like, look, Fellow has been playing well in challengers, but I don't. I think this is gonna jack up. I think this is gonna be a bad move. Like, I just don't see this move working out. I hope I'm wrong. Like, I've been wrong before, so I hope this is one of those instances. But not happy about the move. I think Hook should have been given an opportunity to play out the season. I wanted to see this team go and defend their throne together as a team. Um, we're seeing other teams struggling right now. I mean, Atlanta FaZe has started to drop games all of a sudden. Do you think they're walking back into their locker room thinking, we're now 18-3. We were 18-0. Like, let's think about making a change. Like, that's not how that should work. And I don't think they were playing bad enough for me to be like, yeah, now is the time. Like I just didn't seem right. Like different teams get hot at different times. You all got hot at the right time last year. You got hot headed into the playoffs, played really well towards the end of the season. They were good throughout the year, obviously, but as we mentioned, FaZe was better than they were all year last year. There was not one point during the year where you could convince me Dallas was a better team than FaZe until the finals when it counted. And so I would have given my team a chance to repeat and bring that magic back unless they were playing terribly shitty right now, which again, I didn't see that being the case. So
No,
this
like you
was
said,
bothering me a
they're
little
12
bit.
and 8, sitting second place right now in the league. It was, I mean, it was shocking to say the least to see the roster move, which is why the only reason I believe, and like you said, it is like the Reddit detective saying like, oh, well, if you look here, there's a stream of him like being upset and crying on stream and things like that. If it's something like that, if it's something mental, then I just think you do have to make that move just because these guys spend a lot of time together. And if you have like a negative person or someone bringing and I say the locker room, if you're bringing the team atmosphere down, I guess you have to make that change. I would like to think that these guys are professionals. And when you're second place and a professional defending champ, I don't know. I would like to think maybe your team can get behind you and get your back and say, bud, like, let's buck up a little bit here. Like let's go. Like why are you stressing? We're fine. Like we're defending champs. We know how to do this, right? Just get into the
Yeah, you give them a chance to overcome the adversity. It's not going to always be perfect. Like you're not going to win every game either. That's just not how that works. So I just don't think they were playing bad enough to make the change right now. Again, I know they weren't playing great, but they also didn't look like complete trash to me. So I would have kept it rolling, but their decision, and now we'll see if it backfires or not. It's going to be evident, and people are going to call them out for it because I do think Envy, as much as they're loved here locally in Dallas, and they've done a great job of building the fan base, the one of the more probably hated teams out there, along with Atlanta FaZe, right? Because the majority of the teams in Optic,
I was
majority
gonna
of the
say,
fans are
yeah,
Optic fans, and that's a rival to them. So
that goes back all the way to the
yeah, like the
Optic Envy
pre,
rivalry.
yeah, for sure. And so the hate bandwagon is going to be easy to jump on if they don't come out here and crush it early. And so, look, at the end of the day, they can still bring him back. I definitely wouldn't be selling him right now. I
No,
think
and
Fellows
especially
should.
if it is like more of a mental thing, right? Then you definitely just give him some time off, let him figure his shit out, and then you bring him back. So I don't think there's anything saying they can't do that. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens in the future. And you know what? The worst case scenario is, Fellow does great and you don't have to worry about it. We've seen that happen too, where a player wants to take a break and then the sub comes in and just performs just equally as well, and then you lose a roster spot. We saw that last year. We saw that happen with someone. I forget. Or am I thinking of just with Toronto and Methods all of a sudden being a sub and then they won and then it's kind of like, oh no. So, but we'll see. Well, if anything, Toronto is proof that has sub going and isn't the worst case scenario, right? So that's why they allow for it. But we'll see where that goes. Where we have, I think we're in stage 3 already. Come to think of it, God, where has the Call of Duty season going? So midway through the season, we'll see how much this takes change. But let's get into some e-news as that wraps up the main part of the show. E-news is brought to you by Philly Esports. You can check them out, phillyesports.net. They are good dudes, friend of the show. We've had him on before. We've had Adam on. He's in our Discord as well if you ever wanted to give him a shout out, Ace Nelson. If you have any questions, if you live in the Philly area and you're looking to get into esports, you don't need a certificate. Don't worry about that. Philly Esports doesn't require one. Hit them up. They're always looking for volunteers. Sometimes they have paid opportunities for their local events, but they also do online as well. Right now, it looks like they have not announced their May event, but they always do some type of tournament. Last time was a 3-on-3 search and destroy for Call of Duty. So sometimes it's Smash, sometimes it's Rocket League. It's a variety type of thing, but definitely worth your time and to get your feet wet into esports. PhillyEsports.net. All right, looking here, E-News, we got some to get to. In CSGO, Complexity and Mouse Sports both qualify for Flashpoint Season 3. Again, not really Flashpoint Season 3. It's more or less the RMR event is what they're qualifying for, which is the more important part. But good matchups there if you did get a chance to watch them. I'm glad to see Mouse in there because it was against G2 and they lost to G2. But that was such a close match that I felt bad for Mouse. Like, in that last map, they could have sent it to OT, and it was really just mental mistakes on their part. That you could tell it was the pressure of almost going into OT that screwed them up. So I'm glad to see Mouse.
They knew it was getting close, and so they just...
Right, like, it was just like, almost like their brain got crisscrossed, and they decided to defuse in the wrong angle from where their smoke was on Mirage. Go back and watch that. You can tell it was like, oh, you probably want that one back. But regardless, they ended up making it through. So good on Mouse.
Yeah, we had some extra salt news here, Tim, with a team we don't talk about often at all, but a former Cloud9 roster, the group of South African players that are all together under the extra salt title, are NA's only hope, Tim, and that sounds unusual with Evil Geniuses getting knocked out super early in the tournament for the Fun Spark tournament. We had Extra Salt advance all the way to the finals, take big in a best of 5, losing it in a best of 5, 3-2 with every match. I mean, if you want to watch a great BO5, every single match was 16-14, I think, except for one might have been 16-13. They played fantastic. They were NA's hope. It was so fun to watch them, kind of see Twitter's reaction to them because they really had all of NA kind of rooting for them, and it was so out of nowhere. So it was great for these guys for them to get a little taste of success, and they looked good. I hope it can carry over into something, but they gave a good run that weekend, and that was with some of EU's best. So exciting to see them kind of do their thing there.
Somewhere out there, Henry G is questioning everything he knows about Counter-Strike.
Probably having a hard time watching that one this
him
weekend.
And Cloud9 right now are both questioning life and wondering
what do we even know
wrong.
here. That could have been the C9 roster just pushing through into the finals of an event. I mean, something we weren't even close to seeing. Tarek recently gave an update, Tim, former player for Evil Geniuses team,
Cloud9.
With Cloud9. Who was he on? CLG.
MIBR.
MIBR. CLG was his really long time
on Liquid?
No.
The one team he was never on.
Yeah, the one NA team. So maybe there's still hope. Well, anyways, he's given an update. Just put out a Twitter statement earlier today. He said he really kind of understands there's only two options. He did not mention CS as one of those options, just so you know. One of the two options were go pro in Valorant. Second option was become a full-time streamer, see where that takes him. He is going the streamer route for now. He said he wants to give that a go. And Tarek was king of content there for a long time. Concerned with what he's going to stream, unfortunately, the good old CS casual streams are, for the most part, dead. Right, there's really nothing, no one anybody follows, especially with skin gambling and all that gone, and then the money 10-mans they used to do kind of gone. Like, if he's streaming Valorant, I could see him just going and playing because he's going to start getting offers pretty quick to join teams if he's playing Valorant.
I actually watched. I love Tarek's stream, and I watched it earlier today, and it was both. He played a little Counter-Strike, went back and played a little Valorant, so. We'll see. I would like to see him get, like you said, more or less content-wise, though, right? Like, I could see him working the desk and just doing his own thing, right? Analyzing VODs and just be kind of being known as that kind of guy with Valorant and Counter-Strike. That kind of lives in both, open to both worlds, right? But I I almost have to think the writing's on the wall that he's going to go pro in Valorant at some point. Like, he's
At
still
some
young.
point.
He was still playing very well when he decided to step down from EG. I don't see how he just, like you said, if he is sitting there streaming Valorant for 8 hours a day, how he just doesn't get the itch to go and try it at
I
least.
think like Alex and like Olafmeister and all these guys that are considering making the change to Valorant, I think they all just want to get some time under their belt with the game, and it'll probably not only either give them more choices, which they probably all already have a ton, but they'll kind of know where their place is in the game too, right? Like you
Mhm.
don't want to go into a game and not have those hours and hours and hours of practice that everybody else does to see where you're at and if you belong.
In Overwatch, Houston Outlaws Dante had to get rushed to the hospital right before their matches last week for emergency surgery, Anuj, because he had a case of the testicular torsion.
That sounds, I don't even know what that is, but that sounds terrible.
I know what testicles are, and I know what torsion is. So if I had to put them together, and I actually looked this up, it is, Anuj, when one male sexual organ, also known as the testicle, twists. So like,
How?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but
God bless him.
so
dude.
it does require emergency surgery for them to go in and untwist your testicle. And I have heard that it's extreme. It's like, it is painful, obviously. But my God, good MVP. Just give him the MVP. Houston needs to retire his number. Take down Jake's.
100%.
Take down Jake's jersey. He needs it anyways because he's playing again. And retire Dante. Because that man deserves everything this season. Already, though, speaking of Overwatch, we are in week 3 of Overwatch. The May Melee, as they're calling it. Because they get all fancy with their thing. May Melee, June Joust. May 6th starts the May Melee. Just some updates here. Houston and Philly are both 4-0. And Anuj, I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing for a league, but there are still 7 teams that are winless. Again, we only have 2 weeks underneath us. Some teams have only played 2 matches, but still, 7 teams are winless.
They're fighting for playoff spots, is how we'll put it.
There you go. I guess, yes, you're right. On the bright side to a winless team, there are 6 with you. So win 1, and you're like already halfway up the standings.
You're in the playoffs at that point.
So good news there. Half glass full. I like it. We already talked about the new map for Valorant with Breeze, so go ahead and play that. And again, we are in and out of Valorant right now playing it. So hit us up on Discord if you wanted to give it a shot. Stage 3 updates for Call of Duty. Not really what you were expecting, or at least me anyways. In Group A, you have Toronto continuing their winning streak, going 2-0 so far in first place. LA Gorillas are in second with a 1-0 record, so that will help them. Dallas, as we talked about, is in third, 1-1. Group B, you have Optic leading the way in first, 2-0, and Thieves have actually started out hot for Stage 3 as they're in second place, 2-0. So there we have it. Atlanta is in fourth, 1-0 with a loss to Thieves. I wouldn't put too much into that, though, because, like I said, we're still early on with Stage 3. In FPS news, Apex Legends Mobile, which, Anuj, I don't know if you know this, that was Kevin's Yikes of the Week last
Why?
episode. I just think he mentioned just Apex on mobile sounds like a nightmare, which I don't disagree. I will have to see it to believe it. Play it to believe it, because I don't know how the hell you play it on mobile. But neither here nor there. Just some more updates on it, though. It will have a first and third person mode, 60-player matches. It will be trios, because we were talking about this last week where I just wanted more information. Anuj, a little upsetting, though, when you look at the starting lineup of heroes that they're going to have. It's
like the original cast.
The original legend, or what do they call them? Agents, legends, whatever you call them in Apex. It's the original, like, 6 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get that, I guess. Like, if you're going to start it from scratch, maybe it's like its own thing, and they're going to do a marketplace and try to capitalize
Well,
there.
that's what it is.
Yeah, like,
can't give that...
The first and third person, you were in third person until you aim down sight. So it's not like you can switch from first to third person.
Okay.
But you're in third person the whole time, and when you aim down sight, it goes into a first person mode.
Okay. Interesting. And Apex, I don't know what, I might be dumb here. What is Apex Legends Legacy?
So Apex Legends Legacy is also known as Apex Legends Season 9. It's not called it's the first season that's not called season number,
Okay.
it's called
Okay.
Apex Legends Legacy. Pretty cool update here, Tim. Like, so they are adding a new game mode. It's the arena game mode. That's going to be a 3-on-3 game mode. You and your buddies will get to go head to head in a much smaller, more competitive map. There'll be buy stations, I guess you could say, at the beginning of each round, to where you can buy stuff that does not carry over to the following round and earn money during the rounds to level up. There'll be a drop in each round that gets progressively better as the game advances, but looks pretty cool. Like, it's different. It's a different take on it, but I'm okay with that because this expands their gaming world outside of just a BR mode. So it's going to be a permanent game mode that'll be available to everybody. I think this is all coming out like May 4th or May 9th, somewhere right around there. They're adding a new legend to the game, Valkyrie, who looks incredibly fun to play, like has a jetpack on her, and it does some pretty cool stuff. Probably will remind you, Tim, for you or you Overwatch guys, of Pharah.
Yeah. The rocket.
The rocket girl, she has like a rocket ability, similar to that. So, other than that, like, it, new different maps coming into play and in the rotation. But I'm kind of excited for this season. I'll jump in and I'll mess around with it. I'm going to mess around with the new arena game mode.
I was gonna say that excites me. I do love that we have come full circle with BR games, though. So they took what was already a normal standard FPS on closed maps, right? More close quarter combat maps with Titanfall and Titanfall 2. Then they took those and made Apex Legends into a BR, right? For those who don't know, Apex Legends is the BR for Titanfall. Wouldn't know it, but it is. And now they've made a smaller arena maps for a BR game. When they already have Titanfall 2 fans, if you ever want to just know that it could always get worse, right? Like, if you're ever feeling down and you just want to surround yourself with other people that are miserable, like, go to the Titanfall 2 subreddit or on Twitter, and they just want to be loved. Like,
that's it.
They just want to be looked at by EA or whoever's in charge over there and just says, guys, notice us. Like, you have a fun game here with already, everything else. I actually think, too, it's like Titanfall had a good community, too. It's a good
running
game.
in that game was awesome. I liked it. I mean, it was a good game. It just didn't really stick.
Well, what was it? Titanfall 2 was released on the same day as one of the Battlefields.
Knowing them, it was like Call of Duty or Battlefield or something.
No, it was because it was with the same company. It's why everyone was like, EA. Why would, like, you just destroyed your Titanfall team here, because they released Titanfall 2. I think it was like on Battlefield 1 or something like that.
Never a good move.
So I think that's what it is. And I think in protest, they're playing TF2, like on May something, like on the day the next season starts. I think Titanfall 2 players are all playing TF2.
Just to stick it to the man.
Right. So either way, I just go check out their subreddit. It's funny. In other news, NRG sells their naming rights to their Rocket League team to the General Auto Insurance Company. If you've seen those commercials, the
little general walking around and
what's
cartoony guy.
Call the general same sometime, something. I don't know the saying, but you get it.
I know what you're talking about.
Shaq's in him. Shaq, also a spokesperson. I think actually part owner of the General Auto Insurance. Also part owner for NRG. Shock.
Interesting.
Connection. Go figure. The team will now go as the General NRG. And again, this is only for their Rocket League team. But
yeah.
The article said it was the first of its kind. Definitely 100% not the first of its kind.
Dignitas did it in EU, didn't they?
I know Vitality did it in EU.
Or Vitality.
But there's
Vitality did it.
also, like, I mean, maybe if it meant, like, Rocket League, but even then it's not the first. So,
No. Maybe the first of NA's.
I don't know what they were going with. And one last bit of news here, not necessarily esports, but still entertaining nonetheless. Logan Paul, it's official, will fight Floyd Mayweather June 6th.
Like, bravo to them. Because this is going to make them a shit ton of money. Not that Floyd even needs $1 more, but hey, they're probably bringing you back in for a minimum $10 million payday.
And I don't pay for
this
it.
is going to be more. This is going to be so much more. Like, the boxing fans are going to watch because it's Floyd, and he hasn't boxed in a long time. So just because it's him, they're going to pay. And then you have the entertainment side is interested to see how much Logan Paul is paying Floyd to maybe take a fall. I don't think Floyd loses this fight anyway, even if they were paying him to lose. I don't think that's the case because he's undefeated and he would never like risk that. But dumb in terms of a fight, but cool in terms of how much money these guys are about to make.
I will find an illegal stream and watch it like I do with all these
100%.
fiits.
Yeah. No, I want to watch somebody stream it on Twitch.
I'm not going to pay for it, especially after the last fight. Like,
You can stream anything on Twitch right now. All the mods and admins are busy looking at hot tub streams at the moment. So you can literally you can stream any pay-per-view event at the moment on Twitch.
Easy enough. So we'll see. We'll see. Look, these are, like you said, they're entertaining, and that's that. I don't take any.
MLG can stream porn for like an hour, uncut, unedited.
I forgot.
Pretty sure people will get away with this.
Oh, I forgot someone hacked the MLG Twitch, and that was like after MLG was dead, right? Like,
yeah, it was right after they died, and then like porn, like hardcore porn, was streaming on their Twitch channel for a while.
The good old days, the good old days. And now they just allow it. It's called IRL category. So
yeah,
there there you have it. There you have it. And there you have it for the show. Episode 324. It's done. It's in the books. Thank you so much for listening or skipping all the way around through. Love you all the same. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. We always do these live Sunday and Wednesday nights. New episodes every Monday and Thursdays on the podcast outlets. Join us in Discord. Again, if you are going to play some Valorant, we're always up there playing the new map and everything there. WoW, Apex, 3v3 action. We're going to try that out for sure. We'll see. Just join the Discord. You never know. We will be back Sunday. Oh! Time out. Homework. Are we doing this Sunday? Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, we can. Let's do Sunday.
Okay. Sunday. Homework time. Film review. We typically do documentaries, but honestly, I'm bored of them because they all pretty much are the same, apart from the Super Smash Brothers one. Although Netflix did add free to play, the Dota documentary. So maybe we can do that at some point when the TI is about to go down. But Sunday night, we will be reviewing Mortal Kombat, the latest movie that just came out. So it's on HBO right now. So get a free trial, watch it. If you have it, go ahead and watch it. It's free. But we will watch it and we will discuss it on Sunday. Unless big news happens, then we can move it to Wednesday. But as of right now, Sunday, Mortal Kombat review. I remembered that as I was doing the outro.
That was good.
So, because I was like, what are we going to talk about Sunday? And I was like, oh, yeah, Mortal Kombat. So we will do that. Mortal Kombat Sunday. Go check that out. Follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. Talk about it in our Discord. Let us know what you think of the movie, everything there. Let us know what you think of Device moving over to NIP. We discuss all that in our Discord when it happens, so you don't want to miss that conversation. And all that fun stuff. We have Patreon. You can go to our Twitter description to find that link as well. To all of our Patreons, love you for supporting the show. You absolutely do not have to, so we definitely appreciate the support. But that's all we have for this episode of The Center Ring, presented by Alt and Philly Esports. For Anuj, I'm Tim. We'll see you next time. Okay. You go. What? You can go. You're just getting ported. I mean, we're done with the show, yes. We're still live at the moment. But you can be on camera. Bob, there are women on Twitch wearing far less clothes than you. You're okay.
Far less.
In fact, if you could take off a few layers and come on the stream. Accidentally.
Might do something for us.
Right. If you could just trot in with a few less clothes on. Oops, I didn't mean to.
Didn't mean to drop that behind you.
It's like, oh, just decided tonight to do naked yoga behind you in your office.
God, I'm so fucking exhausted, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like so tired today. I'm having a hard time trying to finish off. My dad made so much coffee today.
All right, I'm going to kill the stream so we can get to editing. Everyone in the chat, love your face.
Love you guys.